What up, change makers? It's your girl Melissa with the Y, aka your hype woman for health and behavior change bestie. I'm coming to you today with a surprise episode, I suppose. I wasn't planning on releasing this one, but it's International Podcast Day, and there has just been so much conversation happening in my circles that I feel like one of you out there might need to hear this too. So I'm excited to share a little bit about not just life updates, but also hopefully some strategies that you might be able to take away from today's episode if you happen to find yourself in a season of change. Today is the last day of September, so we welcome in the home stretch of 2025 starting tomorrow. October 1st kicks off quarter four, which is also the last 3 months of the year, which it's absolutely wild how fast time has flown. And, I didn't want to believe my parents back in the day where they say as you're getting older, time goes even faster, but it's true. It's true, which is even why it's more important for us to slow down, take some time to reflect and think about where we're starting now and where we want to go. What do we want life to look like? Obviously, that gets a lot more challenging when you're dealing with life transitions and even the change in seasons. So, we're coming up on the holidays. That's usually a time where a lot of us tend to let our health slip and slide away while we just ride the wave of the holidays. And you know what? That's okay to do sometimes, but we also have to think about how those 3 months can add up over time, right? That's 25% of the year. So if we continuously just let ourselves go absolutely wild during those 3 months and kind of lose our foundation to where it takes another, 1 to 3 months after the new year to kind of get back into a routine. And then maybe you're hitting the summer slump. So remember, it's about, oh, I love this quote, radical consistency. That was a quote from Dr. John Bonnet for our Lifestyle Medicine Week series. And it's such a powerful point to make that it's not about the things that we do, for short sprints of time. It's about those long-term behaviors that truly add up. So, we can think about life as having different seasons and different chapters. Something that I'm leaning into right now is different eras because our girl Taylor Swift has a new album coming out this Friday, The Life of a Showgirl, and I am so excited for it. But she is such an example of like the ups and downs and all arounds of life and how you just have to keep showing up. Like I always say, you can sit in the suck, but don't get stuck, right? So if you're having your tortured poets department era right now, listen, we feel you. Like it's not fun to be in that place. But who knows? Like your showgirl era could be coming up right behind. So it's just a point to make that we also move through our own seasons and chapters and eras in life. And it's really meant to highlight that whatever you're going through right now, it is just temporary. And I'm going to come back to acceptance. And acceptance does not mean approval, but we do have to accept how life looks sometimes in order for us to figure out how we're going to navigate moving forward and moving through it. So recently, in conversations that I've had and even coaching sessions with clients, there has just been this overarching theme of transition, like change, life being turned totally upside down or getting hit with a curveball. And I know that happens a lot for people, but it just seems like right now there's something going on. So my astrology girlies, if you let me know if like Mercury's in the microwave or whatever it is, like if that's what's going on, let me know when it ends. But I really do feel like there's been so many things I've been talking with people about having pretty significant life changes. Clients going through loss of family members, clients going through divorce, clients going through some significant injuries that are keeping them from doing the things that they want to do, and also mental health challenges. And that's something that I have been fairly open on social media about struggling with recently is my own mental health, and doing more for myself recently has been helpful with addressing that, but still in just this really funky place. I've always been someone who has experienced anxiety. I've gone through dips of depression previously, and September really exacerbated a lot of what I was already kind of dealing with. We had the 2-year anniversary of Buddy's loss, which I can't believe he's been gone that long already. I'm dealing with a lot of uncertainty, which, if you have anxiety, what's the biggest thing that influences your anxiety levels? Uncertainty, unknown, like all of the things that you don't know what to expect, right? And even expecting things and then having life completely turn upside down and say, like, just kidding, that's not where we're going. So, yeah, that's been honestly a huge struggle for me. And I was hoping that I would get a little bit more of an answer from the psychiatry appointment I had. I was really hoping to get a little bit more clarity around, like, should I go in for a neuro eval to see about ADHD? Because I get lots and lots and lots and lots of people telling me that I experience some of the symptoms. So, it's still something that's in the back of my mind. I didn't get the answer that I was hoping for in terms of, who I could go see for something like that, or even like next steps in getting a differential diagnosis, because y'all, my psychiatrist told me, you have high functioning anxiety. I was like, yeah, no shit. Like, I did not need an hour-long appointment for you to tell me that. Like, your girl already knew, like, fully aware, coping as best as I can, but also recognizing there was a lot more that I could have been doing for myself, that things that have worked in the past and I just have kind of slacked off on. So since I've been reintroducing those, I have noticed a pretty big difference. But anywho, just shouting that out to say, like, y'all, we're not alone. We're not alone through any of the challenges that we're facing. And that is one of the roots of self-compassion, right? Self-compassion has kind of 3 tenets. The first one is mindfulness. The second one is self-kindness, which a lot of us struggle with. But then the third one is common humanity. Like, pain is universal. We all experience pain, and that doesn't mean we have to suffer, but that should signify that we're all connected through that pain that we share. And it's how we connect with each other through shared experience, through empathy, through showing others compassion. So, where am I trying to go with this? I just want to remind you, to be gentle with yourself. Like, please be kind to yourself through whatever shitstorm life might be throwing at you right now. Some of it may be personal, some of it may be professional. I know one of my clients is dealing with like a gnarly employee at the moment, and it's just one of those things where we can't control other people, right? We can't control our thoughts. We can't control other people. We can't control our emotions. What we can control is our choices, our behaviors, our actions. Those are all things that we have full power over, but sometimes we forget about the power that we have to control those choices, actions, behaviors. So this is your reminder, okay? This is your reminder here, coming from your loving behavior change bestie on the other side of your phone or your device, wherever you're listening from, that you can be gentle with yourself through change, and you can still make some pretty significant progress on how you're supporting yourself through that change and how it impacts your well-being. So, okay, let me take a quick sip of water. This is a lot. It's a lot, but I'm feeling called to share it right now. So that's why we're doing this on the fly. So being like, 2 things can be true at the same time, right? 2 things can be true. You can be tired, you can be frustrated, you can be angry, sad, numb, and You can also still engage in behaviors that support your health and well-being. It's not easy to do. That's not what I'm saying. But we do have that power that we can tap into and unlock within ourselves to still feel the suck, feel the shit, go through it, and not let ourselves get to a point where we are like in pity party mode, self-loathing, just throwing all of our goals out the window and just sitting there, right? Just sitting there and feeling stuck. We have the ability to notice how our thoughts, our emotions, and the people around us are impacting us and our well-being, and we have the power to make change. So just as life may sometimes throw changes your way that are unexpected, we can also make unexpected changes in our own lives to compensate with that unexpected change that life threw at us, right? There's a little bit of back and forth that we can play around with here. So even though we can't predict the future, what we can do is we can set future us up for better success by just focusing in on the small steps that we can take for ourselves, those smallest, tiniest steps that can help support us even through the tough stuff, especially through the tough stuff. So I think what I would love to share today is, something that I found helpful, but also just some tips to kind of keep in mind that will help you show yourself some grace through the challenges, that can help build your resilience, and to learn how to navigate these seasons of change with self-compassion as well. I talked about this already, but just focus on the question and the mantra that I live by when life be lifin' is, what is the first, smallest, tiniest positive step that you can take today to support your health and well-being? That could look as simple as taking 3 deep breaths. That could be stepping outside and just soaking up the sunlight for 30 seconds. It could be taking an hour to meal prep for yourself, so that way you don't have to think about what kinds of foods you're going to eat throughout the week. You have healthy, nutritious meals already on deck. That can take a little bit more, right? I mean, that's an hour over 30 seconds, but it's just checking in with yourself and saying, like, what do I need in this moment? And what is that first smallest step? So if you're wanting to meal prep, maybe that first step is just making a grocery list. Maybe it's looking through Pinterest and finding some inspiring recipes. Anything like that. Those small, tiny wins are going to add up to that larger change over time versus trying to do some sort of like massive overhaul of your lifestyle. Just take that first tiny step. Think about something you're grateful for. Journal out how you're feeling, whatever that looks like for you. Now, the next thing and this is something significantly that I needed to bring back into my life, because small business ownership is no joke, y'all. And being your own boss, especially when you lack in the self-discipline and self-accountability department like I tend to, is you gotta find systems to support yourself. You've got to create structure if you don't have any external structure. And I'm thinking about mostly within my business, but it also applies in my life too. So something that I always love to tell people is, think about the habits that you currently have. What are some of those things that are anchored in your day that are like your non-negotiables? You don't even have to think about them. Like, they just happen naturally. Like, it's part of your routine. So those are like your anchor habits, right? They ground you in different components of your day throughout the day. So it could be brushing your teeth. It could be tying your shoes. It could be driving to work. It could be hopping on that call at noon. It could be how you prep your lunch, if it's in the microwave, like anything like that. Those things that just happen during your day. Those are perfect opportunities to look at stacking in a new thing that you want to introduce. So one of my favorite examples is like while I'm brushing my teeth, I try to do like a gratitude list because I just go over and I don't think about how I'm brushing my teeth. I've got like my little electric toothbrush going, "Yeer." And during that time, my mind usually races all over the place. I try to be really intentional about thinking about what I'm grateful for during those 2 minutes that I'm brushing my teeth. That is an example of habit stacking. You find that anchor or that foundation habit and you introduce something new onto it to help support your health and well-being. It could be stretching while your morning coffee is happening. This is a new one that I'm also proud of myself for. Like, I am going to give myself props for this because, y'all, we got to celebrate the small wins. And, like, especially the way life be life and for me lately, we are going to be so proud of ourselves for this. But when my coffee is brewing in the morning, I bust out. I originally started with 5. Now I'm up to 10. Some days it's 15. Just countertop push-ups. So I lean against the counter. I bust out my push-ups, got my pajamas on, no bra. Like we are pumping out the push-ups as we are while the coffee is brewing in the morning. And now that I think about it, I've been doing this habit for a while, and I could go back in my nifty little habit tracking app and I can see a little chart of how often I have been doing these push-ups. And let's see. During the month of September, I did 22 days of these push-ups. So if we multiply 22 by 5, I've done 110 push-ups that I would not have normally done during the month of September. Now, some days I did the 10 push-ups. Most days, actually, I think I did the 10 push-ups. That means 220 days that we did countertop push-ups that we normally would not have done, right? So that is an example of how those small steps over time add up to those bigger changes. And it might seem insignificant in the moment, but it truly does over time start to accumulate into something greater. There's a really great concept that I was introduced to through a lifestyle medicine webinar, actually. It was from Dr. Reagan Steinman. Shoot, I'm going to have to look that back up again. But she did an incredible presentation. She is part of the U.S. Air Force, and she did a presentation on lifestyle medicine for the military and how it impacts basically like national security, right? We want our warfighters to be fit and ready to go. So lifestyle medicine is a huge piece of that. And I loved when I tell you this concept was just like chef's kiss. I loved an example that she gave about the idea of no 0 days. And this relates back to our tiny wins, right? So the first smallest positive step. The no 0 days really just boils down to making sure that you do something, anything, the smallest possible thing that you can think of. And the example she gave was doing one push-up. One singular push-up. This is where I got my coffee idea, actually, like doing push-ups while the coffee's brewing. Because she was like, think about it. If you tell yourself, I just need to do one push-up today. If you do that every single day over the next year, you will have done 365 push-ups that you normally would not have done if you hadn't made that commitment of no 0 days to yourself. So think about what that no 0 day looks like for you and hold on to that through your tough stuff. Next, this is a big one, y'all. Grace beats guilt every single time. We got to drop the shame game, y'all, especially when it comes to maybe goals that we had originally set for ourselves that when we are in this era of life that is challenging us and that we're finding it difficult to navigate, sometimes you can't do it all. And that's okay. Like, you got to learn to be okay with that. Come back to your no 0 days. Reimagine your goals. Sometimes you just need to scale it back a little bit to keep your confidence and motivation going. But you got to show yourself grace through the tough stuff. If you try to guilt yourself into changing and shaming and blaming yourself, that is, 1, not enjoyable, but 2, it's also not sustainable. It may get you moving like in the short term, but over the long run, you are just breaking yourself down. You are beating yourself up when you're already knocked down. And this is something, whew, man, this is something I've had to practice when I'm preaching. When it comes to like pitching my services, and also, y'all, I'm going to be totally honest. Like, I've been looking for part-time jobs. Like, I have been looking and applying for part-time jobs and have been coming up like empty-handed. I am just spamming my resume at anything that I seem like adequately qualified for. And let me tell you how dejecting it is when you get either like an immediate rejection or you get ghosted by these companies, right? It is such a gut punch. And I have had to show myself a lot of grace through this chapter because, one, I am a high achiever. Like, I do not do well with rejection or with not accomplishing things or like not being able to work towards something, right? And it has been a massive learning opportunity for me because I get so down on myself. And I think part of that also has to deal with this kind of uncertain era that I'm in right now where I'm kind of questioning everything in my life. Like, I shit you not. Every single part of life that you can think about, work. Well, that's the big one right now because I was just talking about jobs, finances. Like, what do I want out of life? Like, parenting, is that going to be in our future? Like, all of those things, so many questions, zero answers. And it's really, really difficult to learn how to hold space for that uncertainty and to just keep going, like to tap into whatever inner strength you have and just keep moving forward one step at a time. I think this also reminds me of something that my most incredible professor, Dr. Sherrod, love her, she's the best. She said to me one day when I was like on the verge of having, what do the kids call it nowadays? A mentee B? No, I think that's outdated. Oh, what's the term now? Shoot, I forgot. It's not a breakdown. It's crashing out. It's crashing out, y'all. I actually am popping back in after I already edited this podcast because I remembered it. So I just wanted to, I was crashing out, but I mean, I was having a breakdown. I was on the verge of having a breakdown. And she was like, Melissa, sometimes you can't even think about like one day at a time. You really just have to scale it back and think about like the next 5 minutes at a time. And that's something that really stuck with me because especially with anxiety, if you think too far in the future, you get caught up in all those what ifs. So just thinking about like, what can I do in the next 5 minutes to support myself? That was huge. So take it or leave it. I hope that's as helpful for you as it was for me. I also want to just remind you that you are not alone through this. And if you feel alone, this is the most important time for you to connect with your support network, whether that's a team of professionals, psychiatrists, therapists, coach, whatever that looks like, whether that is your most trusted friends. Maybe it's your family members, your spouse, anyone who is in your corner, anyone who provides you that support and encouragement when you are having the most trouble finding it for yourself. Social support and connection are one of the best medicines. And I use medicines in quotation, right? Like lifestyle medicine, like social connection is a pillar of lifestyle medicine, but truly it can be such a simple thing, a simple and small thing that can totally turn your day around. And I'll use the example. I got to have a really nice walk and talk over the phone with my matron of honor and one of my best friends, Elise. We met doing our internship at the Navy, and that was back in 2010. So it was a hot minute ago, but we have stayed connected ever since. She has just always been there. And we spent almost an hour and a half on the phone. And I will say I also went for a walk during that time. So movement is medicine too. It really helped me to kind of just even share with her like some of the things that I've been struggling with. And yes, there were tears. Yes, there were laughs. Like it was just such a therapeutic 90 minutes that I didn't realize how much I needed. So that is your reminder to reach out to your people, those people who are there for you, and maybe even seek out an official support group. So whether you're dealing with, alcohol use, and if you go to Alcoholics Anonymous, like there is no shame in that game, y'all. Those groups can be totally transformational. If you're not so much on the AA spirituality side of things, there's also things like smart recovery groups. If you're experiencing burnout as a healthcare provider, there's groups for that too. Like there are so many support groups out there. You just got to find the right ones to connect with people who understand, maybe who have been there, pick their brains on how they got out of it. So that way you might be able to add some more tools to your own resilience toolbox. Woo. Okay, y'all. This has been kind of cathartic for me, but I really hope that there are some takeaways for you tuning in, whether you're going through a challenging time or not. The next time that you do go through one, because there is no if, there's only when, right? Like this is how life works. When you are facing your next challenge, I hope that you can come back to some of the things that were shared in this episode to really support yourself with grace, with resilience, and with compassion through that challenging era, chapter, season, whatever that looks like for you. What is that first, smallest positive step that you can take today for your health and well-being? That is what I hope you can walk away with. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't even have to think about tomorrow and what that's going to bring. Just get yourself through the next 5 minutes, next 30 minutes, next hour, through the workday, whatever you need to help you get through. And just remember, you're not alone. You're not alone. And I love how the Mel Robbins podcast wraps up because she always says, I love you. I love you. You're cared for. You matter to the world. And truly, like, I am so grateful to each of you who are tuning in today and who have been on this journey with me. Or maybe you're listening for the first time to this podcast and you're like, whoa, this Melissa girl, she's a health coach and she struggles this much. Yes, because we're human. We are all human. That is what connects us, in addition to the painful experiences that we go through. And that's why it's so important for all of us to show up with empathy and with compassion for one another, because as the phrase goes, everyone is fighting a battle that you know nothing about. So check in on yourself, check in on the friends you know who are having a hard time, check in on your strong friends, because I can't tell you the number of times that people have seen my social media over the last couple months and they're like, Melissa, you're killing it. Like everything looks like it's going so well. It's like, if you take a peek behind that curtain, y'all, woo, you would be in for a surprise and a shock. So that's your reminder that social media is the highlight reel, which is also why I try to show up very vulnerably and authentically on there too, to share some of these eras that I've been going through. And I am excited. I am excited for The Life of a Showgirl by Taylor Swift to release this Friday. I am actually, y'all, this is something, okay, bonus tip. Give yourself something to be excited about and to look forward to, all right? It could be thinking about going and treating yourself at your favorite coffee shop tomorrow or at the end of the week or over the weekend. It doesn't have to be big, but what I'm looking forward to, I treated myself to a launch party or a listening launch party. Oh gosh, I don't even know what to call it. Yes, we're all staying up until midnight. And when midnight hits and the new Taylor Swift album is available to stream, we are all going to be listening to it. It's happening at a local vintage shop that I'm really excited because I haven't gotten to check out. And I'm like, okay, I get to meet other neighborhood Swifties. I haven't done a midnight release like this probably since Twilight. Yes, I'm dating myself. I used to do all the like midnight releases for Harry Potter books and movies. So God bless you, Mom, for getting me through those times and going to those events with me at like the Barnes and Noble, where we're all dressed up as little wizards and stuff and witches. And oh my gosh, just you're a real one for doing that with me, Mom, because I can't remember the last time I stayed up till midnight. Recently, it was to binge the season finale of The Punisher. Ooh, John Bernthal, am I right? Okay, we could keep rambling, but that's going to be my bonus tip is give yourself something to look forward to. Maybe you had some laughs, some smiles, some tears while you're listening to this episode. And if you think that there's someone out there in your life who could also hear this message and use this message today, please make sure to share this episode with them. But in the meantime, y'all, I truly am so grateful for you taking this time to tune in. I know you're busy and I know that maybe you've been struggling, but I really am so thankful to have you as part of our Changemaker community and listening in to our podcast. So, as always, we'll wrap it up by saying, until next time, Changemakers, keep it real, stay positive as best as you can, and remember to show yourself some grace. I'll catch you next time. As a quick, friendly reminder, the information in these podcasts are always strictly for educational purposes only. Thanks so much for listening, Changemakers. And if you can please remember to head to your favorite podcast platform and subscribe, rate, and review. It will help this podcast reach other Changemakers so they can start listening and tuning in each week.